Good afternoon. So Scott Gates and I are here to present the adequacy of funding in Maryland since 2002. This is an analysis that the Department of Legislative Services has done since, pre-Thornton, but back to when the Thornton Commission was considering options for what to adopt, what recommendations to adopt. And so what we've done, we've had many requests to update that analysis over time, and we've brought it forward to fiscal 15 to see what adequacy under the Thornton Commission definition or vision, what those figures would be relative to what we in fact are funding today, and relative, putting in context the proposal that Augenblick, Plage and Associates made in December to try to provide the context. It's a little harder since we did that over a month ago, but we will do our best to provide the context. So in the interest of time, I'm going to skip slide 1. And so on slide 2, here what we wanted to do is just remind you of what adequacy is. And what adequacy is the funding that is sufficient for all students to meet the academic performance standards at that time. So when when the Thornton Commission was meeting, we actually were still giving the MISPAP. So that goes way back for some folks. And I'm not even going to try to remember what that acronym stands for, but MISPAP was then Maryland School Performance Assessment Program. Almost immediately after the Bridge to Excellence legislation was enacted in 2002, the state changed its assessment to the Maryland school assessments and, of course, the high school assessments, and now we are into the park days. And so those assessments have changed. So what that standard is, what the expectation is, changes over time, and it has changed several times now since the Thornton Commission adopted its recommendation. The targets are based on the recommendation of the Thornton Commission and what was ultimately adopted in the Bridge to Excellence law for a base pupil funding of $5,969, which was the successful schools base at the time. And then what we have done is we have inflated that through to fiscal 2015 using the implicit price deflator for state and local government expenditures. That was the original Thornton Commission recommendation. That was the inflation factor that was recommended to be used, and so that is what we have used across the whole time period. I will talk in a number of slides later about how that law was changed. And then we've also adjusted the foundation program for the Geographic Cost of Education Index. And again, what we've done is we've used the GCEI index that is in statute and applied it going backwards to all of the years. And then we've also used the weights, and you can see those at the bottom of the page here for the special education, low-income students, and LAP students. These are the weights. These might not look as familiar to you. These are the weights including federal funds, because one of the important things about adequacy is it's not just state funding. It's state, local, and federal funding, all resources.